When Kenan died, when Anele died, it was huge. And the public interest around the court cases, the inquest, give me as a journalist every right to write about the story.
But people would say there's a big difference between an article and a book.
I know, and I'm interested in why.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. So Melinda Ferguson, the author who published an entire book about AKA and Anele after both of them were gone, has now responded after AKA's father shared text conversations between AKA and Anele's father, Moses Tembe, just a day before the inquest into Anele Tembe's death was supposed to happen this past Monday. The inquest ended up getting postponed to September 2026, but the conversation has definitely not stopped. So as a blogger, I'm merely reporting what's happening for those who want to know. Now, some of you might remember this author Melinda Ferguson, and some of you might have missed the whole saga. So before we get to her statement, let me first play what she said when she was on Podcast and Chill, so you can refresh or get context if you missed the saga in 2024.
You did say when we started the conversation that you don't believe she jumped.
I don't.
What do you believe? Because you've dug into, the research. What do you believe happened?
I think a terrible mistake happened. Personally, I think that things went out of control. I think there'd been a lot of using, a lot of drinking, a lot of drugging in the Pepperclub amongst the party of people who were there.
You think, or is this from research?
Well, I mean, what do you want me to say? Someone told me this. Yeah, someone told me this, but I'm not telling you who.
That's fine. I just want to know whether
it's not just me going.
Thumbs up, or it's like research and it's like, okay.
No, it's not thumbs up. There was a lot of shit going. There was a lot of stuff going down.
Does the book get to the why?
Well, I have, and I'm not going to tell you all the juicy details because there's a very compelling chapter where I get to interview the man, Rob Stefanatu.
Who's that?
He's the man who's sitting in his apartment, Sunday morning, sitting watching the news, when he hears the screaming of a woman. Yeah. He says it's not a normal screaming. He thinks someone is being murdered. He's hearing, leave me alone, leave me, like screaming, like, but that someone is with her. She's not just like screaming. He hears the screaming. He's sitting on his couch and then he hears a bang, like a gun going off. He thinks someone's been shot and it's Anele's body dropping onto the street below. He rushes to the balcony. AKA sees him. There's reports in the newspapers that AKA sees a man across the road at a balcony. Rob doesn't see AKA, but AKA doesn't know whether Rob has seen him or not. So do you understand what I'm saying here?
Okay, but you had said AKA sees Rob. So
yeah.
Rob is not sure that AKA is seeing him, but he definitely sees there's a man.
Rob does not see AKA. He admits to me in my interview with him, he does not see across. He just looks down, he sees a girl lying there and he gets downstairs.
How does he know though that AKA can see him?
Because in the press later, AKA admitted to seeing a man across. In some interview or whatever, there's information out there that AKA knows that someone across the thing he thinks has seen him. In fact, he hasn't. And I don't think AKA knows that. AKA then goes to the room next door. That's according to
the statement, his statement. Okay.
He goes, and he says his friends tell him not to go down. Sorry, I'm going to be quite blatant here. Your friends tell you not to go down. Why are you listening to your friends? Your woman is lying on the street below. Rob rushes down. He sees a body of a black woman. She's naked, but they've covered her now with a sheet.
So who's arrived now before Rob?
Rob, and there's some people from the Pepperclub that have come out and have covered her with a sheet.
Okay.
Rob knows the people who own the Pepperclub. He phones these people. They say, put cones out, sort out things. Rob phones the paramedics. He goes to Anele Tembe now, who the sheet is covered. He pulls the sheet back. He says to her, if you can hear me blink. She blinks. She's alive. He starts, a strange black woman. He doesn't know that it's AKA's girlfriend. He knows nothing about AKA and Anele. He tries to wipe the blood from her mouth and he starts doing CPR on her. For me, this is part of the story that literally is the seconds of Anele lying there, the reality of the girl who's just she just jumped, she was crazy, just fell, you know what I mean? There's been so much shit said about Anele Tembe, but the reality is a woman is lying, 22-year-old girl is lying, her body, one can only imagine what it looks like. And then the paramedics come. She stays alive for about 20 minutes and then she passes away.
Melinda shared that heartbreaking ordeal that was allegedly witnessed by somebody that assisted Anele after she fell to the ground, and he was with Anele for like 20 minutes until she sadly passed away. That was in 2024. Fast forward to 2026, there's a slight new development. This past Sunday, News 24 released what they called a visual investigation focusing on Anele Tembe's final moments at the Pepperclub Hotel in Cape Town. Although the investigation didn't uncover much of what we didn't know, what stood out was the revelation that AKA actually called reception at 7:38, reporting and requesting assistance, saying someone is threatening to jump. That was followed by Anele's body reaching the ground around 7:45. But the author's book largely aligns with the Tembe family's version of events, that Anele was pushed by AKA, that a witness heard screams, that there were no fingerprints on the balcony railings in the surrounding areas, amongst other claims. Those are some of the reasons there's now an inquest into Anele's death. Oh, and Begicele also said that as police, they concluded that there was foul play. What if the call AKA made to reception is the biggest reason why he was never arrested, especially when they are looking at the time the body reached the ground as well as the call duration? What if it clears him? What if the inquest, when it finally happens, also clears AKA? The reason I'm asking all of this is because the author Melinda Ferguson published that book with conclusions on an ongoing matter.
Do you think your books will stand the test of time? So, because obviously you say that you use a lot of social media, and obviously with even the Kelly Kumalo story, whether it's the Oscar as well, and the same with this current book. Over the years, like you see now with the case, for instance, with Senzo Meyer, it's still unfolding, you know. So all of these things happening, even now with the whole, like you're speaking, maybe after the court case, after there's the verdict and all, then maybe do you believe in your book or the facts that you have in the book so much that even after it, everything will still stand as
I think if justice, if we see justice, this book will be very accurate. If for some reason there isn't justice, and this is possible that it might not happen, because remember the NPA didn't want to prosecute, or they didn't see any reason to.
Yeah.
Now it's an inquest. The NPA is, for me, on their back foot. Like, are they able to say they might have been wrong? This is interesting because maybe they can't for some reason. I think my book will reflect an accuracy. Will it stand the test of time? I think there will be other things that will happen. This will be a story where there's still revelation. Like, I couldn't do the court case. I couldn't do the inquest.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of another book. I mean, after all of this
story.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is like, Better Call Saul to Breaking Bad. Okay.
Yeah, they're always called.
Like,
the show.
it's the
I've seen the show.
prequel to Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
This book is the prequel to the other story that is unfolding, because I cannot do the court case. I felt like the book needed to be done. Like a prequel to Breaking Bad, this is the prequel. And when everything is revealed, I've got a lot of information that I couldn't put in this book because of the time where we're in with this.
But you've expressed
See
that
now.
you feel unsafe, or maybe your safety, or you're paranoid currently. Why continue now that you're mentioning that you'd want to write another book?
See,
Why?
I guess the question remains, will she refund the people or remove the book from the shelves if the investigation and final conclusion end up different from what she wrote? Anyway, this is what she said in her statement, responding to the text messages AKA's father shared. Over the past few days, I've watched with growing sadness as the public conversation around Anele Tembe has taken a deeply troubling turn. Anele has become a diagnosis instead of a daughter. A collection of private WhatsApp messages has become, in the public imagination, an entire human being. Her most vulnerable moments are now being presented as though they explain everything about her life and everything about her death. They do not. Since her horrific fall in 2021, I've seen pages of evidence, spoken to countless people, and tried to understand a tragedy that shattered many lives. If there's one thing I have learned, it is that the story is far more complex than the simplistic narratives now taking hold on social media. What breaks my heart is seeing Anele dismissed as crazy, hysterical, or simply sui, as though those words explain everything. They don't. Even if someone struggles with their mental health, they do not lose their dignity, they do not become less worthy of compassion, they do not deserve to have their entire life reduced to a stereotype. And if Anele did indeed leap to her death on that terrible morning, then surely the conversation cannot end there. Shouldn't we be asking what happened in that room? What pain, fear, despair, conflict or substances could have brought a young woman to such a devastating moment? Reducing a complex human tragedy to "she was sui" is not an explanation, it is an erasure. The truth deserves to be established through evidence that is properly examined and tested, not through insensitive selective leaks and social media bullying and outrage. Whatever anyone believes happened that night, there should be one thing we can all agree on. Anele Tembe was a human being. She was someone's daughter, sister, aunt, and friend. She was deeply loved. She mattered. Let us not lose our humanity in the pursuit of a sensational story that is far more complex than any of us can imagine. She concluded by saying, "Rest in peace, Anele Tembe. Rest in peace, Keenan Forbes."
I do think she was young. I think she was privileged. I think that when she used drugs, I think she probably lost the plot. I think like anyone, I lost the plot. I nearly killed people when I was on drugs. I mean,
So
drugs.
she used drugs.
Huh. What?
You said when she used drugs.
I don't have any evidence, but at Anele's memorial, Moses Tembe's spokesperson, who read the letter, spoke about drugs very clearly, spoke about the problem with alcohol and drugs in this country and young people. I think there was a lot of suspicion that the two of them had been using and that they used during the relationship. Moses says in the book, why were they having fights at 3 and 4 in the morning? Why most normal people have fights at around 10 and 1. Okay, I don't know about 10 and 1, but 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, many of their fights were happening at 4 in the morning. I am an ex-cokehead, a crackhead. You can't sleep at 4 in the morning. You're so busy like schnaffing and trying to get more that is before the birds are singing, you're still like busy with your stuff. There was many of their fights were happening at strange times of the morning. I think just because she was young, it didn't mean that she wasn't saying, hey, this and this, this and this. And I think that their relationship was violent both ways. What I pick up is that AKA was also being hurt.
Yeah, we've seen footage that both.
Anele Tembe was being hurt.
Recorded.
The two of them were being hurt.
Jeez.
The two of them were in that Chris Brown, Rihanna, shitty, I'm going to smash you. I mean, look at that thing that happened in the car. It was toxic.
Jeez.
It was violent. It was toxic. I think Anele got into a relationship that she was far from being able to handle. I think the hip hop world that she was suddenly seduced into, or that she herself probably was seduced by, was just too much. I think she was a very sweet girl at one time. I think she was a good student. I mean, I spoke to her father. I got a very beautiful idea of who Anele Tembe was from Moses. I got other people saying she was crazy, she was out of control, she was this.
Are these people who knew her personally from her side?
No, it was during the
things?
AKA time. People who knew her then, yeah.